And we are live. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience and have continuously competed for fantasy championships over the course of the past 7 seasons. Let's make it 8 in 2021. But enough of me. I'm here for you on today's episode of the FV Show. We're going to be previewing my Dynasty rookie draft, which is taking place in just mere hours. I did this video last year and I rewatched it and I really loved the way that it turned out, so I wanted to bring it back this year to show you guys my thought process entering my 2021 Dynasty rookie draft. You're doing a before preview and then an after recap, so it might all just be in one video, and we'll do the second part of that later on today. Or we might just split it up into 2. I'm still not entirely sure. Regardless, you guys are going to get my full outlook on my mindset going into the draft and then what ended up happening coming out. I'm really excited for this, but let's just kind of talk about the league in and of itself just to give you guys a baseline for what we're working with right now. So this is year 3 of this Dynasty League. It's called NEO's Finest. I'm the commissioner and I'm the one that put the league together. And to be honest, it's kind of like a super league at this point. To get in, you had to have extensive fantasy experience, and you also had to win a lot. I mean, we have guys in this league that have 3+ championships and even 5+ fantasy championships under their belt. So it's highly competitive. Everyone in this league knows what they're doing, and that makes it a lot more fun. There is a monetary buy-in as well. And it really is, we kind of talk about it, me and my best friend. It's one of the best ideas that we've ever come up with because it's been so much fun to just try and build these teams up. We have a few super teams in the league as well, and it overall is just a great time. So it's a 10-man league, half-point format, 1 quarterback dynasty. This is year 3, like I said. And then also the way that quarterbacks are valued even more in this league is that instead of 25 yards being worth 1 point, 20 yards are worth a point, so you get an additional point for every 100 yards passing. Other than that, let's kind of go through my roster just a little bit here, just give you guys the lay of the land. My quarterbacks are Lamar Jackson, my baby boy, Jalen Hurts, Taysom Hill, and Cam Newton. I'm a big believer in Hurts and Taysom. I think Taysom Hill is going to end up being the starter there in New Orleans and was fantastic in that role last season. I traded for him this offseason. My running backs are Antonio Gibson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, David Johnson, Myles Gaskin. Who else do I have? I got DJ Dallas, Rashard Penny, Keyshawn Vaughn. Who else am I missing? And Lynn Bowden from Miami. I also have Michael Pirine as well from the Jets. My wide receivers are really where my moneymaker is right now, and that's Calvin Ridley, A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Brandon Cooks, Alan Lazard, Preston Williams, Henry Ruggs, Van Jefferson, Denzel Mims, and Quintez Cephas, as well as Darnell Mooney. So my entire receiving core, by and large, is under the age of 25, so I'm really not pressed for a wide receiver in this draft. And then my tight ends are Mark Andrews and Jonnu Smith. My draft picks for this, if I'm looking this way, I notes right over here to the side of me. And that's the other thing. If you can tell, we are not in the normal studio right now because I actually went back home for the draft. We're bringing it back in person, and I'll probably create some sort of accompaniment video with this. I just kind of give you guys some live shots of the draft. I did it last year, and it was a really cool time. So my picks now. Let's move on to this section. I have the 103, 208, 303, 306, 406, and 503. So that puts me in a few different interesting spots. Obviously, 3rd overall, a lot of things can happen, which we'll talk about in just a bit. 208 is going to be interesting because, like, in my opinion, the cutoff of, like, really great talent is at, like, 204, 205. So I may try and trade up. And then my 3rd round picks I like because I can see some 3rd round value. And I actually got an inquiry this morning about somebody trying to trade for my 303 pick, which I'm contemplating. And then 4th and 5th round picks, I usually just kind of go veterans or just to see who falls later on in that draft and just kind of scoop up some extra value there. Maybe take a dart throw on a rookie and just kind of see how that board shakes out. So now let's kind of just talk into my plan. Like, what do I want to do here? Guys, if you missed the video, you should go back and watch it because I just released a 20-minute video about Kyle Pitts yesterday. I think at the time that this is being released, and he's my plan A. He's my plan A at 103, and I'm pulling this up right now so I can. There we go. So I just pulled up my rookie formula. I may just slap that on the screen right now. So this is the rookie formula that I use. If you want access to this full spreadsheet, go to the link in the description, ffvulture.com. You can pick it up there. Highly, highly valuable. I mean, I go through all of these rookies, sort through their talent level, their opportunity for fantasy, how much draft capital a team used to get them, positional weights, and how much I love them, create a total score out of it, and it's basically my rookie rankings. Like, this is the sheet that I go off of when I am on the clock. It worked wonders last year. I think I ended up with like 6 of my top 15 players on my team, and I really loved it, so I ran it back this year, and I think my list is really fucking solid. So go check that out if you want. But let's talk. I mean, Kyle Pitts, it's obvious. If you look at my team and my team needs, I don't need a wide receiver. My running backs, I could use one, but when you have a player as talented as Kyle Pitts and the situation that he lands himself in, and the overall situation and of the fantasy landscape of the tight end position, Kyle Pitts, number 1 player on my board. The draft revolves around this pick, and specifically it revolves around pick 2. So what ended up happening is me and my friend Evan, we were mocking out the entire first round, and if Jamaar Chase goes number 2 overall, we have the entire first round mocked to a T. We know exactly how this thing is going to play out. He actually has the number 10 pick in the back of the first round, so this matters even for him, like down the line. Depending on what happens at number 2, we'll have either one of two things. We'll have 1 through 10 completely mocked, and we know exactly who's going where. But if Kyle Pitts goes number 2 and I get sniped, the domino effect from 3 to 10 is massive. And actually, if you want to extend it even further, it's going to be from 3 to 13. And it's just going to trickle down, bam. So it's wild. There is so much pressure and intensity going on right now, not only with myself to see if I get sniped, but all the way down the line. I mean, I've been having just mental attacks, mental warfare going on right now in my head, trying to figure out what the backup plan is if I don't get Kyle Pitts. I mean, I just look at my team right now, and I need a tight end. I just don't trust Jonnu Smith anymore, so I only got him for 1 year, which really sucks. Kyle Pitts, generational talent, Julio out the door, and it's just so obvious. It's so obvious that Pitts would be the selection for me there. But you need a backup plan, and I talk about this a lot. I always have contingencies depending on what's happening in and around me, and I kind of just prepare for everything. So in the event that Kyle Pitts is off the board, I'm going to go Travis Etienne at 2. I'm going to go Travis Etienne at 3, excuse me. I love Javonte Williams. If you guys know me, you guys know I'm a UNC fan, so I love my baby boy. But really him being behind Melvin Gordon and not having immediate impact is one thing that's going to absolutely blow for him. It hurts. I really loved him coming out too. So if you guys missed that video, I did a whole video. Actually, I don't know what side it's going to be. I'll link it somewhere up here. It's a great video though, and you should definitely check that out. It gives you a really nice breakdown of Javonte if you're interested in him in your rookie drafts. So I'm going to go Travis, and it's really simple for me. Number 1, I guess it's kind of threefold. Number 1, Travis is just a really complete player. I comped him to Alvin Kamara with his ability in the pass catching game as well. Him getting that bump this offseason, and just an Urban Meyer coming out and saying, hey, we're going to try and use him at wide receiver as well. Love that. Also the fact that he reunites with Trevor Lawrence. Cool with that, because that's just going to be such symmetry between the two and a level of comfort there that you wouldn't normally find. 3 is immediate impact, and then number 4, which is my favorite, I don't know how likely this is, but I'm going to take the shot on it because we've seen crazier things happen. In my opinion, I've talked to Sleeper about this, and they've said it's unlikely. I don't care. I'm still going to go with it because I think it's a possibility. I think that there is a chance that Travis Etienne gets labeled as the running back wide receiver tag. I think he gets both. I have Lynn Bowden on my team for that reason, because he's labeled as a running back and a wide receiver. You guys remember last year's chaos when Taysom Hill was starting and he was listed as a tight end, so you could start 2 quarterbacks at the same time, even if you weren't in a 2-quarterback league. I abused that last year. I talked extensively about that, and I really think that there's a chance that Travis Etienne can get that tag as well. We've seen it with Lynn Bowden, we've seen it with Taysom Hill, we've seen it with Ty Montgomery before previously. Don't rule it out. Don't rule it out. I know Sleeper and I think a few other platforms have said it's unlikely. But just kind of have that ace in the hole is something that I'm really interested in. So if I don't get Pitts, it's going to be Etienne for me, and then I'm actually going to spend my second round pick at 208 on Brevin Jordan. The comp that I have for Brevin Jordan is he's Kyle Pitts light. They're both super young. Brevin Jordan is a bit smaller, but kind of that same athlete and that same makeup that Kyle Pitts is, just on a smaller scale version of it. So I think, in my opinion, Brevin Jordan is one of the best values in rookie drafts. Yes, the quarterback situation in Houston is crazy and up in the air, and I'd actually have three Houston Texans on my team with Cooks, Brevin Jordan, and David Johnson. So I'm not thrilled about that. But I also don't think that there's any tight ends in Houston of note. So I really think that it's going to be possible that Brevin Jordan comes in, may not be the guy right away, but should immerse himself into that role. And then you start looking at my third round picks, that 303, that 306, and I'm really just looking to see how the board shakes out. In my opinion, I'm looking to go best player available, going to see if I can snag some value. But I am probably going to try and avoid wide receivers, I'm going to be honest with you. Just looking at my team, again, all of my wide receivers are like under the age of 25. So that's really wild. You look at my guys, like my super young guys, Denzel Mims was a rookie, Henry Ruggs was a rookie, Van Jefferson rookie, T. Higgins a rookie. So my core, man, it's super young. And wide receivers grow on trees, so I really don't value them all that much as of right now because I'm not in a need for one. If I need to pick one, we'll see who's on the board still. There are a few guys that I like, some late round guys. I guess some mid round guys would be Amari Rodgers, who plays for the Packers right now, De'Ami Brown out of Washington, Daz Newsome in Chicago. And then I also really love Cornell Powell, who plays for the Chiefs now, wide receiver out of Clemson. He's probably one of my sneakiest guys. If you just look at what the Chiefs have done, Mecole Hardman hasn't hit in the way that people have expected them to. They have Demarcus Robinson, which fine. Sammy Watkins is gone, so it really is just Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And Cornell Powell is a big wide receiver too. And I think that's going to be such an interesting dynamic to where you have speedy Tyreek Hill, you have Travis Kelce in the middle, and then who's going to be that other receiver on the outside? And if that's Cornell Powell and that Chiefs offense, we are going to have problems. But I'm really curious to see how this draft is going to shake out. Another guy that I like is Nico Collins as well, wide receiver for the Texans, because you look at that Texans roster right now, and it's Brandon Cooks and nobody. So I really think that Nico Collins can step up and have an immediate impact in fantasy football this year, and that's going to be really cool to see how that situation unfolds. But that's kind of it, to be honest. The thing that's so different about this draft compared to last year's for me is that last year I felt like I needed a lot of different pieces. I felt like I needed to improve my wide receiving core. I felt like I needed to improve my running back, and I did that, and that's really what I spent my draft capital on last year, getting Henry Ruggs, bringing in Antonio Gibson, also bringing in Keyshawn Vaughn and Zach Moss, who I shipped out earlier this year. So I really just tried to bolster my core, and it worked well because I now have Gibson, Ruggs. We'll see what happens in year two, but I'm just in a spot right now to where I look at my team and I just feel like I'm a piece away. I'm just a piece away. And even still, last year I could have contended if I wanted to, but I understood where my team was at, and it was just all right, let's just kind of get a high pick, and then we'll go for the moon next season. So that's what I'm looking to do at that number 3 slot. I know Kyle Pitts, how often are you going to run 2 tight ends? I don't know. We do start an additional flex in this league, so I could easily throw him in there. Who knows what happens with Mark Andrews? I may be able to ship him off, but I like the idea of running 2 high-end tight ends personally, just because of the way of that landscape. So Pitts may not have the immediate impact on my team that Travis Etienne would have, but you just look at Kyle Pitts and I literally just see superstar in bright lights. So that's who I'm looking to go with, and Travis Etienne as a backup option, and supplementing Pitts with Brevin Jordan later on in the draft. Honestly, that's not a bad strategy either, so I love having that as my backup option. But that's going to do it for this part of the preview, and if you want to stick around for the post-draft recap, just stay tuned for that. All right, it's about 4 o'clock right now, so draft's in about 4 hours. Nerves are starting to kick in a little bit, just pressure's cranking up. Again, I know what I want to do, but unfortunately, it's out of my control. I have inquired about trading up to the number 2 slot, but it's just the cost is too high. I have possible deals to move back to number 10 and pick up number 13. So that's on the table, but I really just want to quickly talk about the mock that's going through my head, as I kind of alluded to in the last clip. We kind of have an idea of how this thing could play out, so I want to just run through that, have it on record, because I don't think that there's going to be the opportunity to make sure that I get this take out there. So let's just kind of run through it, also just away from me to clear my head and understand kind of where I'm at. Fellas are coming over around 6. I can't remember if I said that or not already. Drafts at 8. Probably gonna go hop in the shower and just kind of relax, decompress before they show up, get ready. But as far as mock draft goes, so let's just kind of play this out and just kind of shoot my thoughts just a little bit here. So first pick, Najee Harris. That's going to be for sure. That's already locked and done. Number 2, just for sake of this, because I want to do this on the instance that I end up getting Pitts. But then maybe we'll just cycle through what happens if I don't get Pitts. So let's say Jamaar Chase goes 2. Pitts goes 3. In that case, we're going to have Etienne and Trevor Lawrence go 4, 5. That stack is honestly confirmed. The person who owns the 4th pick, Ian and Mark, they're going to go with Etienne and Etienne and Trevor 4, 5. 6 is Luke. He's taking Javonte. 7 is Ian again. He's going to go, I think he's going Waddle. I'm pretty sure he goes Waddle. 8 is Ryan, and Ryan's going Smith, if I'm not mistaken. 9 is where things get interesting with Fig. He can go one of several different ways. It sounded like from the way he was talking to me, he's going to go either quarterback or wide receiver. And if that is the case, I honestly am anticipating Justin Fields going there. But if it's not going to be Fields, it's going to be Bateman. And then at that 10 spot, I know Evan is going to go with Trey Sermon. So that's kind of how that first round is going to shake out. And now here's how things get interesting. Let's say I don't get Pitts. So we go Najee 1, Pitts 2, 3. I'm going to go Etienne unless I trade out, but I'm going to go Etienne with that pick. 4, 5 then changes to Chase, Javonte, and then 6. We think Devonta Smith. 7 would be Lawrence, but then we get into the spot now to where what happens at that 8 spot? Does Bateman go 8? That's kind of what we're looking at right now. So maybe Bateman, 9, Fields potentially, and then maybe Sermon. But the issue here is Sermon may go to 6. So what that would look like would then be Chase and Javonte 4, 5, Sermon at 6, Lawrence 7, 8 would then be Bateman. You're looking at maybe Fields 9, and then what happens at 10? Who knows? I know that Evan's going to be scrambling at 10 if Sermon is gone, because he needs a running back, and that core 4 is off, and he doesn't like Michael Carter. So I don't know what his plan is, but that's kind of where we're at. That's how we see the board happening. I mean, me and Evan have spent dozens of hours at this point trying to game plan what everyone's going to do. And so I don't expect there to be a whole lot of shock in that first round. I think we have it pretty well mapped out for what some of these guys are doing. I mean, what's cool is we're always in communication. And the Panthers actually just released a video of going through their draft process. And it's so cool to see what we're doing being mirrored by NFL teams, because it shows to us that, hey, we are approaching this in the right way. So, I mean, I'm always on the phone with Evan. I'm always on the phone with Kinsey. I'm always on the phone with Ian. And we're all just trading information, trying to put the puzzle pieces together. I've done a lot of smoke screens this offseason. I started off with the Javonte smoke screen, which honestly wasn't a smoke screen. And then it kind of morphed into one. And then here we are on the pitch train. So they don't really know what I'm doing. That smoke screen has dissipated quite a bit, though. With Ian recently trading for TJ Hawkinson, it sounds like that he did come to the realization of, oh, hey, I'm probably not going to get Kyle Pitts. But I feel good. I know what I'm going to do. I feel very confident that we nailed what this draft is going to look like in the first round. And then what happens in the second and beyond is who knows what. But in terms of just what we have on the outlook for round 1, I feel confident in it. So, going to go shower again, decompress, de-stress. It's 4:15 right now, and they're going to be showing up soon, so I'm just going to kind of relax, set things up, and get rolling from there. So I'll catch you guys after the draft, I think. Who knows? I may record a segment beforehand or even during the draft and slide it in, but catch you soon.
Yeah, we're good.
What's he doing? What? I'm so scared. I'm so scared.
Dude, fuck off.
I got a chest on there. Okay, so...
Hits!
I didn't get Kyle Pitts. So let's talk about it. I got my draft board pulled up here. Notes on my phone. It's about 11 o'clock at night when I'm recording this. Everyone just left the house. Draft started at 8, wrapped up around 9, and then just pandemonium ensued for 2 hours after that. So let's just dive right in here. Najee Harris went 1, as expected. And as I stated previously, this draft was going to come down to who went number 2. And it was either going to be Jamaar Chase or Kyle Pitts. And I knew it. Evan knew it, my best friend. Like, it was just too obvious for Pitts not to go number 2. Just looking at his team, he had Travis Kelce, sure. Like, well, Kelce's 31. Noah Fant is still a question mark. Hasn't really done a whole lot. Didn't need a wide receiver. Didn't need a running back. Didn't need a quarterback. It was going to be Kyle Pitts. It was going to be Kyle Pitts, and we all fucking knew it. But alas, I held out hope, only to be crushed in defeat once the selection was made. Roll that clip, please. So here I am, on the clock at 3 now. My number 1 player on my board, gone. Number 2 player on my board, gone. I don't have an interest in Chase, because I have T. Higgins, so the only reason why I would take Chase is to either flip one of the two for an extreme price. And honestly, like, I'm on the clock at 3 now, and I'm just psychoanalyzing everything that just happened. I mean, I just got my heart ripped from my chest, thrown to the ground, stepped on, like your ex just fucking broke up with you, and now you're trying to get rid of all their shit. Yeah, that was not fun. That was not fun, because I didn't know if he would do it or not. Like, I knew it was obvious. But we were all, like, up until that moment, it was still 50-50. And he even told us after the pick, he's like, yeah, I really had no idea what direction I was going to go with it until I made it. Like, literally, as I was on the clock is when I made that call. We did start talking, like, trades were going on, and, like, you know, there were conversations, and at the end it really was like, it was Higgins, it was T. Higgins and 3 for Kyle Pitts, and it's just like, I can't do that. I can't do that. Kyle Pitts breaks the position. I get that, but obviously, I literally just released an entire 20-minute video gushing about Kyle Pitts, right? Literally yesterday, so go check that out. It's somewhere up here. But just that price, that's a top 24 wide receiver and a running back 1, a wide receiver 1. So, excuse me. So I'm on the clock at 3, and offers start coming in because they know. Like, they knew I was gunning for Pitts.
I gotta put something else. I just instinctively look at it.
Let's talk. What do you want to do? Is it just 10 and 13? I'm not doing a 4.
I don't have anything else.
Are we talking for 3?
Yeah.
I'll give you 12, 15 in my second next year.
No.
Right.
I'll switch 4 and 3 for something if you want.
12, 13, and by 2023 first.
I'll do 8 and Kenzie's next year.
12, 15.
Kenzie's 1 next year?
I'll give you Kenzie's 1 in 2023.
I know. I'm aware, Susan.
What do you want to switch?
Hey, Mike.
I'm fine with trading back, but I need something also in return, obviously.
Hey, Mike.
Do you? Okay.
12,
And
15,
you just
20,
23
23
too.
first.
Alright, so you're gonna offer 4.
Can I sign it?
Hang on.
Mike?
Kinsey, be quiet.
What do you want from me? I gave you the rest of my picks. Shut the fuck up!
Ian, what first do you have next year?
Mine.
Would you do 4 in your first next year?
I maybe do.
Would you do 5 in your first next year?
No, I mean it doesn't switch that much. But I probably do my. I would do my second probably.
I could give you more.
Offer like that, by the way.
You're 19.
And you just straight back from 4.
8 and a 1?
Who, me?
His one.
If you
I'll
want,
do 2.
if you want Brandon Kinsey first rounders, you're talking to the wrong guy.
So 4 and a 2 next year.
Sure.
Give me a second.
12, 15, 28,
Something
20,
back up.
23.
Yeah. Moving to 4 for God's sakes.
I know, but I know what you're doing at 4. I'm sorry, I know what you're doing at 3.
I like transing play.
How bold of you? You got 2 minutes.
I know. I'm not running.
Trade back to me.
Mike, I'll give you.
Ian, do you have a second this year?
No, I have no ones at a total 4.
He does not.
Huh?
And throwing a player or 2.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
10 points, but.
Second this year. Nothing's enticing yet.
Yeah, let's do it.
2?
4 and a 2 next year.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Chase.
Interesting.
Hey, asshole.
What'd you pick?
Who do you want?
I thought he was going Travis.
No.
Who do you want at 4?
This
I'll
comp.
give you the same deal.
I'm now conflicted.
I'll give you the same deal.
Hey.
for 4.
Hey, asshole.
I'll give you the same deal for 4.
I'm silly.
And then 13.24.
10, 13, 22, 4 for 4.
Oh, yeah. I want outside of Metcalf and
Oh, yeah, my receivers are. They
yeah.
are fucking awful.
Here's running back.
I
And your team there. I don't know how you turn that into a good team.
go.
Ayuk is a stud.
Give me Travis.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna stink.
And the draft's worst kept secret at 5.
Trevor. Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
So offers start coming in. One of the offers, it was 8. What was it? It was 8 and 11. I think it was. It was 8 and 11, or it was 8 and a 22-1 for 3. I was also offered 10 and 13 for 3. And I'm like, nope, because I knew, remember, the entire reason why I actually traded up to begin with, back to my number 3 pick, was because I knew I was a running back away. And looking at how the board was going to shake out, just kind of based on what I knew, a running back was not going to be there at 8 or at 10 that I liked. Or I guess outside the top 3, right? No Harris, no Etienne, no Javonte. So just kind of looking at that, it was all right, you need to stay inside that top 6 range. And then I was offered 4 and a 22-2. And for me, just going back one spot, knowing, hey, I was either going to get Travis Etienne or Javonte Williams no matter what, sure enough, let's do it. I'll take the extra asset. I'll move back. So Jamaar Chase ends up going number 3, and I take Etienne at 4. I really just kind of looked that over. And even as I'm on the clock trying to make this decision, you see me thinking. You see me thinking and really trying to analyze, what do I want to do here? Because what's going through my head right now when I'm on the clock is I love UNC. That is my school. That is my team for all college sports. And I'm trying to just analyze, okay, how do I possibly pair up Javonte Williams and Michael Carter, two guys who I love. But in order to do that's the thing. I didn't want to just do it to get one. I needed both. I wanted to make that move, and I didn't think there was a way that I could trade up to get Michael Carter in the second round. But then obviously with Etienne, I've talked about it a little bit, just slightly. It just makes a lot of sense. First off, I'm a big proponent of Jacksonville Jaguars running backs. They are always successful. Believe it or not, between Fred Taylor, Maurice Jones, Drew, Leonard Fournette, and now Travis Etienne, you get the pass catching ability of Etienne. They spent the first round pick, so you get the 5 years guaranteed. And then really the other two big things is one, playing with Trevor again, and number two, I'm holding out hope that they're going to give him the running back wide receiver dual tag. And if that's the case, this shit's fucking over. This shit is fucking over. That's going to be an absolute cheat code. So I went with Travis. I feel fine about it. I am going to try and trade for James Robinson, just kind of have that handcuff, and we'll see what happens. But I was told that the price for James Robinson is still significantly high. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Lawrence goes at 5, which was the worst kept secret in the draft. Javonte goes 6, which is something that we did predict and we already knew. And then what ends up happening is... what's that deal? I forget how that happened. The number 7 overall pick was traded for... I don't even know what that deal is. Can I look? Can I pull that up? The number 7 overall pick was traded for something off the top of my head. There we go. For a 22 first and 2... Where is that? And 3-1. Yeah, so a 22... It was a 22-1 and a 21-3 for number 7, which that's certainly an interesting deal. And so that turned into Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle, like the person who owned 108 now also gets 107, and he took the Alabama boys. Fields does go 9, which was my hottest take of this draft. I knew it. I'm like, he's gonna go Fields. And when he went Fields, I'm like, I told you. I looked right at Evan and I said, I told you he was gonna go Fields.
Yeah, I mean,
Told you, Ev. Woo! Told you, Ev. And then Trey Sermon goes 10. I knew everyone was going to go with Sermon at that pick if he was on the board. Going into the second round, we knew what Trey Lance. I knew Lance was going to go at 201. Michael Carter going at 202. I didn't even have time to try and even make an offer for that pick. That was pretty immediate. Bateman goes 203. Elijah Moore, we just kind of go down the list just a little bit. There were no real surprises in that range. Seeing the Moores go back-to-back was interesting, actually. Freiermuth going at 206 was kind of wild. Did not anticipate that. But then we're just going to kind of fast forward here. I'm on the board at 208, and I'm looking at it, and I love Terrace Marshall. I love him. He is 6'3", runs a 4.39 if I'm not mistaken. Really could be just this super incredibly talented wide receiver. Finds himself in a great situation in Carolina, where I think what's going to end up happening is we're going to have Marshall and Robbie Anderson on the outside. They're going to put DJ Moore on the inside in the slot, and they're just going to kind of go to town with those 3 wide receivers. But at 208, I know I talked about going Brevin Jordan here, but once Terrace Marshall just falls to you there, how do you not take him? How do you not take him? You already know. I'll take T. Marsh.
you got an 18.
Mm-hmm. Great value there. So I decided to kind of bite the bullet there. And then we go with... and then Brevin Jordan goes 2 picks later. 2 picks later, I was really thinking that possibly Brevin Jordan would get back to me. And he did not, evidently. So let's kind of move forward just a little bit here. At 3-3, I was in talks to trade that pick. Luke.
Sir.
Let's talk for that third.
46.
Huh?
Which one? 36 or 33?
3-3. Are you willing to give up another tight end or no?
Depends who.
Let me pull it up. I was looking at Tunyon.
Second.
Yep. Let me know. Luke, you want to do it?
Just get sniped.
Fuck you, Humble. Unfortunately, as we are talking about making this deal, he gets sniped, and Amon-Ra St. Brown goes the pick before me. So I'm still on the clock now, and I'm gonna take Dyami Brown, one of my favorite wide receivers in this class. Super underrated. Goes to Washington. Could ascend as the number 2. As of right now, I know he's the number 3, but I do think he's probably more talented than Curtis Samuel. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. Fast forward just a little bit, and then at 3-6, I get offered the deal.
Hey, Mike! 3-8 and a 4th next year. Moving down 2 spots.
3-8 and a 4 next year.
Yeah.
Different value, my friend.
Mike goes.
Who are you looking to take? Look, you already sniped me with pets.
You sniped me!
You sure can.
This isn't a Trey Lance deal.
You're getting assets and down 2 spots. You don't know who you're Don't lie. Yeah, he knows who he's taking.
I'm looking at Chuba right now. They just gave the thing is, like, they gave McCaffrey like just a shit ton of money. Move down to 3-8. 3-8. Hey, 3-8 and a 4 next year. Yeah, let's do it. So the deal that I get offered is to move back to 3-8, and I pick up a 22-4. So I move back 2 spots and pick up a 4th round pick next year. To me, pretty easy. I look at who's available on the board, and I got some options. At that point, it was Amari Rodgers on the board, Chuba Hubbard, and Nico Collins, 3 guys that I was perfectly fine with in that range. And Collins falls to me, so I'm cool with that. There are no other wide receivers in Houston besides Collins and Brandon Cooks, and I got both of them, so I'm totally cool with that. I know the situation in Houston is not great, but somebody's got to fucking catch passes on that team, and I'll gladly take them both. Some other surprises that happened immediately after there was Jamar Jefferson and Ramondre Stevenson going back-to-back. That stinks. I'm just kind of looking at it, and it's like, damn, I really need to try and bolster up some of these positions. And then this is where things get a bit complicated looking at this draft board. There are a few defensive players that go, but our IDP draft isn't actually until August, and that's where we're going to focus on IDPs. So if there are any IDPs on this board, just know we're picking players off of the waiver wire to, I don't know if this is ever to show up. We were actually picking players off the waiver wire and then just substituting them for IDPs within the draft itself. For whatever reason, our draft fucked up, and it was supposed to be rookies and players on the waiver wire, and for whatever reason, it was rookie only. So that was a correction that we made like during the draft, where it was like, oh shit, hey guys, by the way, like you can draft guys off the waiver wire, so pull them up on the side and start scrolling. So just for an idea of what happens, where it says Micah Parsons, that's actually Cole Kmet. Where it says Davis, that's Troutman. JOK is Brian Edwards, and JC Horn is Anthony Berkshire. So we really just went 3 tight ends and a wide receiver in those spots. So let's kind of fast forward just a little bit here. Where I took Devonta Davis, I took Troutman. And the reason for that is because of the tight ends available on the waiver wire, Troutman was my favorite. I am a believer in the breakout this year, and getting sniped not once but twice on my tight ends with Kyle Pitts and Brevin Jordan. Just got to try and find a way to patch it up, and I went with Adam Troutman because there really is no competition for targets over there in New Orleans. I'm taking Troutman. Guys, Troutman. I got one. So we're going to go Davis for Troutman. In the 5th round, shit fucking sucks. Like, this is the one downside. The one downside with being so close to some people in my league is that we start just trading secrets. And Daz Newsome, arguably my favorite wide receiver in this draft class, gets sniped from me the pick before me. Like, literally my best friend snipes Daz Newsome from me. So, Evan, fuck you. Who fucking did it?
I told you to take it.
Fuck!
You scumbag.
I do rebound though, and I take Cornell Powell, and I've talked about this just a little bit, I think. I think I even talked about this in the preview. I'm going to take that shot because when I was watching Cornell Powell, I saw very similar T. Higgins vibes from him, and then you land him in Kansas City where they've really struggled to develop a number 2 wide receiver there. So you got Tyreek, you got Kelsey. Let's throw Powell out there and see what happens. We can run with those 3. I'll gladly, like, if you're going to take a shot on a wide receiver late in your draft, it's better to take a shot on a wide receiver in a great offense than a wide receiver in a lackluster one. So I will gladly make that decision. So that's kind of how the draft shook out. And then shit went crazy. So the way that our Dynasty League works, as soon as the draft ends, waivers just open, and we don't do Fab immediately. Fab doesn't start till the season starts. So it's a free-for-all. And because we have extended rosters this year, because of IDPs, we have anywhere between 6 and 8 bench spots open per team because we're all just waiting. And I told him, I said, listen, this is gonna open up. We all have extra roster spots. It's gonna be a free for all, and just start going. And when I tell you, legitimately, 30 players were added as soon as the draft ended, just based off of open free agency alone. It was pandemonium. So I'm just going to read the players who I picked up after the draft, and then just so you guys can kind of get a better understanding, I'll recap my roster, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So I picked up Puka Williams, my baby boy. My video about him did great, so I appreciate you guys all for that. I also picked up Marquez Stevenson, wide receiver out of Buffalo. Who else did I pick up? I picked up Josh Reynolds, Tennessee's wide receiver previously from the Rams last year. I also picked up Tommy Tremble, tight end for the Carolina Panthers. There's just a lot of buzz out of Carolina about the talent that he possesses, so I'm going to take that shot. Now, the big thing in this draft afterwards was the conversation around T. Higgins. T. Higgins has been the hottest commodity this offseason. I have been made offers left, right, and center about him. And I was really just trying to figure out what was the right price to sell. And ultimately, it came down to I just felt like I was given an offer that just makes a lot of sense. So I traded T. Higgins, Jonnu Smith, who I've been trying to get rid of since he signed in New England with Hunter Henry. As soon as that Henry signing went, I was like, geez, gotta get rid of Jonnu now. So I traded Higgins, I traded Jonnu, and I traded a 22 fourth that I got in that 3rd round trade for Devonta Smith and a next year's first. So I feel like I made out great with that, especially because of the fact that I have Jalen Hurts. So I have the Jalen Hurts Devonta Smith stack. I had Devonta Smith as my number 4 player, I think, overall on my board. Let me vet that real quick. Yep, I did. I gotta change this actually. Yep. So I walk away with my number 4 player on my board, my number 6 player on my board with Travis Etienne, Terrace Marshall, who is 15, Terrace Marshall was 15, Diami Brown was 15, and Nico Collins was 16. So another year where I just look at what's going on and I just try and make the most of the situation. So last year, I think I had 6 guys in my top 15, and this year I walk away with 4, and then I got 1 more at 16. So I'm really excited about the way that turned out for me. And I'm looking at my team right now, and it's definitely, I'm in an interesting spot. So quarterback situation, pretty set for the year. Not too stressed about that. Coming into the year, knowing I needed to bolster up my running backs, because I can't rely on David Johnson and Myles Gaskin, I think, throughout the majority of the year, just because I don't know how their situations are going to shake out. So getting Travis Etienne and having him as my 3rd back behind Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Antonio Gibson, I mean, you're looking at those 3 guys, they all catch passes. They are all legitimate 3-down backs. Myles Gaskin is in that role kind of as well, so that's cool. So I really like the way that my running back core has shaped up. Going to my wide receivers now, I literally have 1 million. I have 1 million young wide receivers. And what's so funny is I went into this draft thinking, hey, I was going to punt wide receiver and just be like, nope, I'm going to try and just push them off because wide receivers grow on trees. But the more I kind of analyzed my team, even after I recorded that last part, the preview, I I just have some question marks. Like Preston Williams is probably dead. Alan Lazard, we'll see what happens. I have all of my wide receivers entering this year between Darnell Mooney, Quintez Cephas, Van Jefferson, Henry Ruggs, Denzel Mims. They are all second-year players. Who knows what they're going to be? So to kind of walk away from that situation and bolster them up one more time with Terrace Marshall, Diami Brown, Nico Collins, and Devonta Smith. Like, yes, I replaced Higgins, and like that was just kind of a flip where it's like, all right, you have the number one option on this team now instead of number two. Totally cool with it. And then just kind of next year, or even if I make any trades this offseason or into the season, it is going to be very centered around trying to get rid of wide receivers and really just round that out the best I can. And then my tight ends, I go from having Mark Andrews and Jonas Smith to I now have Mark Andrews, Adam Troutman, and Tommy Tremble. Fine with it. We'll see what happens. I know rookie tight ends usually don't perform at a high level their first year, but again, my thing with tight ends, unless your name was Kyle Pitts, was we'll see. Getting Brevin Jordan, not getting Brevin Jordan definitely hurts. Definitely hurts. But when you're on the board and you look at Terrace Marshall, who you have at 15, and Brevin Jordan, who you have at 19, just knowing the situation of what Terrace Marshall could be, reuniting with Joe Brady, and this Panthers offense should just roll this year, hopefully. That one just felt pretty easy to me there. I'm trying to think of what else. Like, that's really just how this draft shook out. I honestly think that's it. Think that's it. Just looking at my squad, like, I'm content. I will say this. I am content with my draft, just knowing the long. I guess like this is the way that I'm going to structure it. Okay, knowing where I started compared to where I ended really is the big difference maker here for me. I knew Kyle Pitts as much as I prayed to the gods that I was going to end up with Kyle Pitts. It just wasn't going to happen, and I knew it. Evan knew it. Ian knew it, and there was just no way. There was just no way Kinsey would be that dumb to pass on Pitts, and he didn't. So just recap what the actual moves were, and how I kind of chess moved this whole thing. You start off at 3. You start off at 3. You trade back to 4 and pick up a next year 2 in the process. And then in the third round, you trade back 2 spots and pick up a 4 next year. So cool with that. And then after the draft, you flip Higgins for Devonta Smith. Yes, you lose Jonnu, but whatever. He plays for the Patriots and is also competing for targets now with Hunter Henry. So you flip T. Higgins, a 4 in Jonnu for Devonta Smith, and a first next year. Like, cool with it. You told me I literally just picked up 2 more picks inside the top 20 next year. Woo! We're straight, baby. We straight. Cool with it. Perfectly okay. So I feel like I made up pretty well, to be honest. Like, I'm very excited about the direction of my team. We're still super young and super fucking talented. So I'm totally cool with that. I'm buying the Devonta Smith, and the reason why I went Devonta, also names that were mentioned in that deal were Jalen Waddle. Paris Campbell came up a bit, but ultimately for me, I love Waddle, I really do, but the fact that I have Jalen Hurts and I get to run the Hurts and Devonta Smith stack just made more sense for me, in my opinion. I did try and get Deshaun Watson as part of that deal. Oh, baby, did I try. And he just wouldn't budge. I was going to try and fleece Watson from him in that way. Yeah, I feel good, though. Just being able to really round out that tight end. Like, my tight end position is really no different from when it was when I started. Only I considered a bit of an upgrade because of the fact that who knows what happens with the Patriots and Jonas Smith this year. Replacing that question mark with Adam Troutman, who a lot of people are high on, myself included. He was definitely a late round target for me if I wasn't going to get Pitts or Brevin Jordan. So I'm glad I was able to get my guy. And then just picking up Tommy Tremble, just kind of hold on and wait and see what happens there in Carolina. So I'm cool with that. Mark Andrews obviously still my number 1, and I feel like I have a competent backup in Adam Troutman. God forbid anything happened to Andrews. So I'm good. I feel good. And yeah, that's just kind of the rundown. So thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want any of my data for your Dynasty draft, throughout the course of your season, your redraft, check out the website, ffvulture.com. Everything that I have is available there for you. So please check that out. Again, thank you so much for watching. Remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever, and I will see you in the next video.